Good. Send. All right, so we're going to go over the court case from Thursday. Here it is. Bang. All right, number one. What constitutional principle did the Supreme Court establish? Court case. What do we have? What do we have for one? What do we got for one? Alex, what do you have? Implied powers. Yeah, okay. So this necessary and proper clause, right? Okay, good. Many people call it the elastic clause too, that, maybe even though it's not stated in the Constitution, it's implied that the national government has this power over the states, right? Okay, good. Good job. So this elastic clause means that it's stretching over and pretty much showing that the national government, even though that it might not be expressed or stated in the Constitution, that they're implied powers, right? Good. That the national government has over the states. All right, good. Two, what is the objective of the necessary and proper clause? What do we have? Kind of stated that, went over it already. What do you got, Sarah?
I said it was intended to be used by the government constitution to address a specific issue. What is necessary for the government, and it also by powers.
Awesome. Yep. Good job. Good job. So it just really states that even though it's not expressed in the Constitution, these laws, these rights, okay, that it's up to the United States government, the federal government, to have more power over those state governments. That it's necessary and proper that it has to be established that the federal government is stronger than the state governments. Okay. In this case, with the national bank, right? And how the state of Maryland wanted to try to tax it, and because it was a business within the state, and it didn't really work out that way for them. Three, what was the basis of the court's ruling that Maryland could not tax a second bank of the United States? I kind of went over it. Hold. Yeah, good job. So the state wanted to try to tax it, right? Okay, state of Maryland, and because this necessary and proper clause, because it was a national bank set up, established by the national government, they didn't have the right to do that, right? Okay, because that would just show that the states are, maybe above the national government in that case. And then at federalism, there would be a dispute. Okay, there'd be maybe an unequal power balance, and it would set precedent that the states would have some sort of power over the national government, and that shouldn't be the case, right? Okay, good. Four, how did the fact that Justice Marshall was a Federalist influence his ruling in the McCulloch case? Ooh, there you go. This was something that, maybe if it was a different person deciding on this factor, that the decision might have been a little bit different. Okay, might have maybe set the precedence that states and the national government, maybe were on the same playing field, or maybe that the states would have more power. What do you have for four?
So the federalists like a strong central government, and he wanted more power in the federal government.
Yeah, good job. Good job. So, what was one of the problems with the Articles of Confederation? That there was no national government, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the states had the ability to have, their own power and power above the national government, that would kind of defeat the purpose of the whole Constitution, right? And having set precedent that the Constitution is the law of the land, the supremacy clause, and how we really can't allow the states to become more powerful than the national government, because we would fall in the same problems that we did before the Constitution was created, when the Articles of Confederation was causing these issues. All right, good job. All right, so how did the McCulloch ruling contribute to the strength of the national government? What do we have here for five? What do we have for five? Holden, what do you got for five? Yeah, and they had more rights than what's actually stated or expressed in the Constitution. That these implied rights, okay, are even to the point that even if it's not established in the Constitution, these implied powers are stating that the national government has power over the states, Okay, that when it comes down to it, it doesn't have to be expressed in the Constitution to show the authority, the power balance between the states and the national government, and that the necessary and proper clause, this elastic clause, is needed in order to try to prevent the states to becoming more powerful than the national government. All right, good job. Is there any questions on that, guys? We good with it? Is there anything else we could add to it, maybe? No? Okay. Bell ringer. Here we go. Bell ringer. This is off of the podcast that I had, so hopefully you watch that podcast. So what are the 7 articles of the Constitution? 7 articles. There we go. So we talked about the principles already. So there's 5, 6. If you want to include judicial review, which I'd like you to, so let's just say there's 6 and 7 articles in the Constitution. We're going to talk about the first one today more in detail. What are the 7 articles of the Constitution? Joe, you do current event yet?
No.
Oh. Laura, what about you? Okay. Joey, Laura, we got current events. Friday. You see that Penn State loss?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Don't you like Penn State, Ms. O'Neill?
No.
I don't either. I was pumped when I saw that.
Me too.
Yeah. What, Z?
Did it break?
I think he did. I think the corner of the ball went over. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
It looked like it was out of bounds before.
I don't know. It was very tough. I think whatever they called on the field was going to stand. Yeah.
It was a very.
It was cool. I mean, you had to think he was going to do that, especially the touchdown before. I mean, they spread him out. Quarterback just ran and kind of what they did before. So it's like, come on. I had to see it coming. Yeah, well, it is what it is. I'm just glad the hype of Penn State winning the national title is over already the first week. Oh, we have a chance to beat Ohio State, which we got this week. We get our butts beat again. Right?
Right out.
It's a whiteout with no fans. Look out on Halloween night. Oh, that's funny. All righty, here we go. 7 articles of the Constitution. We'll just go briefly over it, just state them. And then I want to get into Article 1 today, legislative branch. I'll let you read about that, and we'll discuss it. That sound good? And we'll talk about some of the enumerated powers, right? Applied powers, which we discussed a little bit about already with the necessary proper clause. Okay, delegated powers. Was that you?
Okay, I found
Oh.
this on the web for proper clause.
I don't know how that even happens. It scares me sometimes. The iPad's listening to me. All right, 7 articles of the Constitution. What's number 1? What's number 1? First article. Z. Legislative branch. Yep, good job. We'll talk more in detail about that here soon, so we're going to leave that go. Second article. It's Article 2. Tiffany, you have this one? Yeah, executive branch. Good job. So that's the president, right? Executive branch. We'll talk about that more in detail tomorrow. Tomorrow. Third, Holden. Judicial. Yeah, look at that. The branches of government. First 3. There you go. Okay, easy to remember. Easy to remember. What about 4? Now we're getting a little tricky here. Go ahead.
The states and their powers.
Yeah, good job. So federalism, right? Okay, so the states and their powers. So federalism. Right, what powers the states have, what powers the national government has, maybe some concurrent powers, shared powers amongst the national and state government. Good. All right. What about 5? Alex? Yeah, the amendments, right? Okay, which you're going to need to know all of them. How many amendments are there? 27. Yeah, okay. So you're going to need to know them. Don't worry. I'll make sure you guys are prepared for it. So I'll pass out a worksheet for you to help you study them and understand those amendments, and it'll be like a Google form. It'll be easy. I promise. I promise. All right. So amendments. Good job. So how this is a working document, how this is going to be amended over time, especially with the new types of environments. Okay. Maybe it's a new thing that might appear in the future that we can throw this amendment in there to help the people out a little bit. Obviously, in 1787, they didn't have all the answers. Okay, so this was designed to be a working document to add to it and to help benefit the people, right? Good. What else we have? 6, right? 6. Sarah, go ahead.
Talking about like the Constitution, like the Supreme Law.
Yeah, the supremacy clause, right? Okay. So explaining how the Constitution, when it comes down to it, if there's a state law or if the state tries to step out of line a little bit, we're going to refer back to the Constitution, even if there is like if there's a hearing or anything like that. We look to the Constitution, that supremacy clause, the supreme law of the land. Good. Last one. Last one here. 7. Lydia? Ratification. What does that mean?
Like all 13 states basically represent themselves.
Okay, yeah, so ratification, the official approval, right? So accepting the Constitution as their law of the land. Okay, good job. All right, is there any questions on that, guys? 7 articles. All right. So I'd like to start. Oh, vocab. Sorry about that. Let me put the vocab up for you. Only 3 of them today. That's it. Only 3. There you go. Delegated powers, express powers, and implied powers. All right, so let's go over this real quick. Delegated powers. What is it? What are delegated powers? What are delegated powers? Z, go ahead.
Powers specifically granted to the federal government in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution.
Yeah, good job. So they're national powers, right? Okay, they're powers that were, expressed, that were given to the national government. Good. And that leads into the next one: express powers. What are they, Alex? Yeah, they're the same thing. Okay, express powers are expressed in the Constitution in Article 1, right? Legislative branch, right? It's derived to give these powers to the national government. They're expressed in the Constitution that the national government has these powers. Okay, good. And what are some examples of express delegated powers? What are some examples? Hold.
Power to declare war.
Yeah, declare war. Good job. Good job. What else? What's another example? Just one more. That's all I'm looking for. Alex?
Establish a post office.
Yeah, post office. Good job. Coin money. All right. There's a lot of different things. Express powers, delegated powers expressed in the Constitution. Easy way to remember. Expressed in the Constitution for the national government. And then implied powers. We already talked about this already today. What are implied powers? Implied powers. Sarah?
They're like powers not
Yeah.
interpreted.
Yeah, good job. All right, good job. So you have the express powers stated in the Constitution. Implied powers, they're not stated in the Constitution, but it's implied that the national government has these powers, right? It's implied that they are, they have this power that's not stated in the Constitution. All right, good. And that's driven from McCulloch versus Maryland, right? Even though it's not stated in the Constitution, it's that necessary and proper clause. Okay, good. Any question at all? We good? All right, so I'd like you guys to go to chapter 3, sorry. Chapter 3 on the online textbook, 3 branches of government. 3 branches of government. All we're going to talk about is a legislative branch. So it's section 2, 3 branches of government. I'll pull it up too on my. There it is. Branches of government. All right, so I like to read the cover story together, and then I'll let you read this first section here on the legislative branch, and then we'll get to the executive tomorrow. But court says no to Nixon, cover story. Who would like to read that? Anybody? Sarah, go ahead.
Supreme Court ruled today that prison sought by the House and Senate Judiciary in 17. Justices rejected 8 of the prison findings according to local office conversations by the doctrine of separation of powers. Court ordered Nixon to turn over the special constitutional scheme.
Yep.
Is widely believed that the
Yeah, good job. Good job. So Watergate, you guys ever hear that? You ever see Forrest Gump? Yeah, how Forrest Gump catches him in the act, wiretapping the opposing political party, the Democrats' discussions of the upcoming election. No? Okay. So look into that Watergate. It's a pretty interesting story there. And Nixon, he was running again for president, and he was a Republican president, and he thought because he was already president executive, he thought he could listen in and try to wiretap the Democratic discussions coming up for the upcoming election, so he can maybe help himself with maybe trying to prepare a speech or prepare his arguments in the presidential debate. And obviously you can't do that. That's illegal. So with that, it shows that, you know what, the legislative branch, of separation of powers, okay, they decided that, well, the judicial branch decided that, you know what, you can't do this. Okay, you can't try to wiretap the opposing political party and try to seek benefit, rerunning for president. And I think it's pretty funny. Maybe I'll play it at the end of class here. Forrest Gump, like, hey, something's going on over there at Watergate Hotel. It's funny. All right, so I'll let you guys read this here. So page 68, 69, and then finish up on 70. Okay, I don't read the executive branch. We'll get to that tomorrow. There you go. And we'll discuss it. We'll go over it. All right, you ready? So legislative branch. Here you go. Legislative branch. All right, so the Founding Fathers decided, you know what, this is probably the most important branch of government just because the people elect these officials in the office. And when they got to Article 2, they said, you know what, executive branch, right? This is the president. And we need a way to try to keep the president in line and check. and legislative branch was thought to do that. Okay, they have the ability to impeach the president in case he tries to, or if he does any wrongdoing. Okay, they just vote on it. They decide, you know what, maybe he broke the Constitution, or he had, I don't know, collusion with a foreign country. Who knows, right? Who knows? Right? There's many instances throughout United States history where there is an impeachment process going on, and maybe trying to eliminate the president. The legislative branch, okay, obviously one of the most important. It is the most important branch because these are elected officials by the people. And the reason for that was, again, they didn't want to try to create an authoritative government, right? All right, so with express powers, we talked about that already. They're expressed in the Constitution. They're specifically detailed, expressed, right, General Patton? You got it. Good. Okay, enumerated powers. Enumerated powers. All right, because they are express powers, and they are really just stated in the Constitution as the economic legislation, defense, naturalizing citizens, establishing post offices, securing patents and copyright. Okay, enumerated powers are plain and simple like delegated powers, like express powers. They're powers given to the national government. Okay, and they're specifically stated in the Constitution. Like I said before, it's a working document. So when we got to the necessary and proper clause, the elastic clause, they added that part into it, because who would have guessed the founding fathers didn't really understand that, or didn't think of this problem with the state and the national government when we get to McCulloch versus Maryland in 1819. But hey, it is what it is. All right, so governing District of Columbia. So enumerated powers are pretty much just express powers, delegated powers. All right, when we get to reserved powers that are reserved for the states, okay, those are some things that we'll talk about, okay, obviously with education and different types of things like that that are reserved for the states. But now we're just talking about national powers. And they reside in Article 1, which is the legislative branch, right, Lydia? Yeah. So like I said before, with the enumerated powers, we have the elastic clause. Okay, the elastic clause is the necessary and proper clause that we went over already with McCulloch versus Maryland, and how that is deemed that it's an implied power. That's something that's not stated in the Constitution, that it's a power that is implied given to the national government. Okay, and even though it's not stated in national government or in the Constitution, this power is given to the national government. That the states won't or never would have the ability to become more powerful than the national government. Because if that happens, we're going to have the same issues and problems that we did when we needed to revise the Articles of Confederation, right? Yeah. So the elastic clause, which is the same thing as the necessary and proper clause, is supposed to stretch, okay, the national government's power. The national powers are supposed to stretch in order to really understand the processes of government, make sure that the states don't become too powerful. Okay, so it's just stretching those national powers, those delegated powers. Okay, even though it's not stated, it's stretching it to the case that, if it's not stated in the Constitution, it's implied by the national government. All right, like I said, with the enumerated powers, McCulloch versus Maryland, this is where we see the necessary and proper clause being established. Okay, so we already talked about necessary and proper clause pretty well. We understand that it's a delegated power, that the national government has these powers that aren't specifically stated in the Constitution. Okay, and we know what the legislative branch is made up of: two houses, right? That bicameral legislature. We have the House of Representatives and then the Senate. Okay, tomorrow, actually, I wanted to do it. We're going to amend a bill. Okay, so it's an activity. Hopefully, we can do it with separation in here, with staying socially distanced. But I'm going to try. I'm going to be the president, obviously. I'm going to be the executive branch. Well, how about we go over the first three articles, and then we'll do that activity. So one group's going to be the House of Representatives. The other is going to be the Senate. And I'm going to present a bill to you guys to vote on and decide whether or not we need to change it. Okay, and then if it gets through the two houses, it comes to me, and I get to decide if I want to veto it or send it back, which kind of simulates amending a law or creating a law. All right, which I think you guys will find pretty fun, which we'll talk about here soon. But I want to get through the 3 articles first, and we'll get to that then, probably towards the end of the week. That'd be fun, huh? Yeah. Probably, usually it takes about 2 days. So maybe we can start it Thursday and do it Friday then too. And then we'll finish up the week. All right. The last thing here, with that, at the time of when they were creating the Constitution, obviously there wasn't that many bills presented to obviously the Congress, but now there's 10,000 bills that are introduced every single year. It comes to a point where, with this Democratic Republic Party that we have, or this democracy, this presidential democracy, it takes a very long time in order to try to pass laws and amend it. And this is going to really simulate this activity I was talking about, how long it actually takes, how many disputes we have over certain issues that seem, we should pass this with ease, within a matter of minutes. Okay, but that's always not the case. So with amending the Constitution, it takes years. Okay, sometimes it doesn't take near as long, but it takes years and heck, even decades in some cases. Okay, it takes a long time. All right, is there any questions, guys, on the legislative branch? Is that it? Oh, man. Okay. See you guys. I have one more. It is what it is.